Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to introduce an amazing woman that I worked with about a month ago. Her name is Courtney Levins, and she has an amazing gift to share with the world. And I got to experience it firsthand. Hey, Courtney, how are you?
I'm doing well, Peter. Thanks for having me this morning. Glad to see you.
Yeah, so that experience that we had 3, 4 weeks ago was pretty spot on and mind blowing. And in my interpretation, as I was watching it etherically and energetically, you were communicating with deities from the higher realms, and they were bestowing extremely accurate information to you about a current situation I was going through. Can you tell us a little bit about how you work and what your gift brings to the world?
Sure. I have the ability to see, hear, sense, and feel the spiritual beings around us, essentially seeing through the veil. Some people are comfortable with the words angels and guides, whatever you want to call it. It's all from source, God, spirit of the light. But I have this ability to communicate with them and relay their messages back to you, to give you guidance, to give you information and wisdom, to really help people get their lives back on track if they feel like they've strayed, or give them that knowledge, that wisdom from the highest source possible to help them achieve what they're wanting to achieve.
And did this gift just plop into your lap one day, or were you born with it and you developed it over time?
So, this is the part that really is kind of mind blowing. This is not my background at all. Believe it or not, I come from a family business of motorcycles,
Oh,
four wheelers.
Hell's
Uh,
Angels?
Close, right? But I was selling motorcycles when all of this happened. Have been in that industry my entire life, and started hearing noises at night. First, it was music, and couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Couldn't understand the melody at any time I tried to listen to it. It seemed to kind of fade away. I would hear voices talking. Now, let me be clear, these are not voices telling me do something bad or anything like that, but I could overhear conversations. And just when I thought my neighbor has had a party and I can't believe she didn't invite me, knowing I'm single living in Houston, and I climbed out of bed and went down fully expecting to see cars lined up both sides of the street, people standing in my yard because it was that loud. Think of a football stadium, right? I went over to the blinds and there was nobody there. So I totally thought I was losing my mind, going crazy. Went to several doctors, got on a cocktail of drugs. It wasn't until months later that I realized these were my angels coming to me and letting me know they were here for me. Because what I didn't know at the time is that my mom, who was my best friend, we worked together, that she was transitioning. And so when she died, my world fell apart. And that was when I went, wait a minute, there's more to this. There are people who could communicate with the other side. I want to learn how to do that. So I quit my job. I've never done that, right? But quit my job, flew halfway across the country to take this course to become an angel reader. And it sucked. I went in there were 150 people approximately in the room, and they were going around going, oh, I see these beautiful auras. And I just wanted to vomit. I was like, seriously, like, I close my eyes, I see black, I see nothing. But I paid so much money for this course, I wasn't just going to walk out. So I finished it. And this is why I quit the job ahead of time. If I hadn't and I could have gone back to motorcycles, I would have. But I didn't want to go back with my tail tucked between my legs. So I said, let me start doing readings. And I had people coming to my house, and I'll never forget this. The first reading I had, this woman came in, sat down. I tried to meditate for like 30 minutes, which is dang near pointless for me because my mind was wandering so much. And I sat there and I closed my eyes and I went, does your husband have a mustache? And she said, why, yes, he does. And I'm like, ah! Okay, close my eyes again. And that was how my reading started. Now, almost 20 years later, you can guess I don't have to close my eyes anymore. And when I communicate with the angels, they just line up here in my office. And, like you and I experienced with Saint Germain and tell him to lay off the whiskey.
That was me telling him to lay off the whiskey, folks.
Yes.
So, okay, so you quit your job, you moved across country, started angel readings for 20 years. Now, when we did the reading, tell them a little bit about how Saint Germain came in, because that was my validation that you were 100% proof positive in the experience we had together.
Yeah, and this is where it is a lot different than most readers. It's not just the questions like, where is my lost bracelet? And angels, where is it? And you go find it. This is really more about, what are the lessons you're learning? What are you going through? Who's with you? And that was what you had asked, Peter. You said, who's been with me? Very present, front and center. And when I went through and was talking to the different beings in here, this one stood out, came forward into focus. Now, what was interesting is the way he presented is not the way he usually presents himself to me. And so it was very, very almost like grasping at straws, going, I see you. Who are you? And then he wrote out his name, almost like a type font in front. And I couldn't quite see all the letters, but I was like, is this Saint? And I went, oh my gosh, it's Saint Germain. You're trying to trick me. But that was the way he came through. And then he was able to give me some messages about what you were doing, what you were working on, and that the original symbol he showed me, when I looked at it, I thought it was like a double helix DNA strand, when in fact, it was his violet flame he was showing me. So the way they come through is they'll use whatever I know and whatever I can identify with, but it also has to be what the client can identify with. And you knew when I described him, the Merlin style look, you do it with Saint Germain, and that he was here to help you. And so being able to convey that.
Would you be interested in doing a mini read-in, kind of live for everybody?
Sure, let's do it.
And I'm not going to say anything, folks, so she's just going to extrapolate whatever comes to me. But there's definitely a highlighted message from someone that's waiting to come through.
Do you want me to just tell you what they're showing me or what's coming through?
However you want to
Um,
do it, whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever
okay.
comes out stronger, whatever resonates, what's brighter.
You've got stuff you're working on right now, Peter. And the power of it is 10x what you think it is. They keep pulling me back on this because it's not to scare, but they want you to know that, and it's not a stumbled upon, but what you have come across is life changing. And really, for all intents and purposes, the people who have this product from you, with the codes, with the energy, with everything infused in it, there isn't a one that won't see a difference in their life. And the impact is going to be felt, and it's going to ripple, and it's going to be even more amazing than what your clients believe it's going to be. They may buy it half-heartedly going, oh, this is cool. But the changes they're going to experience in their life, some of it you'll even know before they realize it. But it will definitely be something that is has a larger impact than what you're almost prepared for. if that makes sense.
So the question then becomes, is this a product that I haven't thought of yet? Is it something on the drawing board, or is it now moving into prototyping?
This is something you already have. In fact, it's no longer just in the ether. I do feel like you either have a prototype or you have it drawn out specifically in plans. But there are two pieces of this. And I'm asking if these are two separate items being put together.
Two
These aren't,
base metals put together.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
That when that comes together, and it really makes me feel like you may have played with this a little bit in the past,
Oh, 100%.
but not in this combination, not in this way,
Not in this order.
not in this order. And they're saying, you nailed it. You
Yeah.
got it.
So let me explain. So we touched a little bit pre-show about some of the stuff that's coming, but obviously you didn't know because I didn't divulge any of the details to you. So there have been three products that I've created in the past. And the way the universe plays this game with me is it leaves a breadcrumb trail, and if you follow it, it surmises what's going to come into fruition. And if you bring something into fruition and it's out in the world doing good, you're going to get higher levels of knowledge to create more. So the product that's coming is a manifestation pyramid. Okay. So let me just backpedal a little bit. The first manifestation product ever created was a source software that kind of took the Achilles heel out of manifesting, and it's been wildly successful for almost 18 years and is about to go into its seventh iteration pretty soon. And then we had the Wishing Sphere line that evolved over 3 years, and that was really to take all the guesswork out of manifesting. You would just wish for it. Like what would Aladdin's lamp look like in a modern day context? What you remember that creepy Zoltar machine that like 30 years ago that spits out a fortune cookie and scares you because it's creepy looking. Like all the best attributes from these things. So as I did the work, um, the next evolution of the next level of power, the next frequency comes into fruition, right? So in the beginning, there was light. Now, in the beginning, when I first started creating products, I created this HFA line, harmonic field amplifier line, and there's been many, many products in there. And they were always predominantly made out of copper, being 95% of it, and then silver. So the copper was always meant to attract the negativity, and the silver would create and stabilize the field, right? And so there was the HFA a new way to travel one, two, and then the third iteration, which was completely different, moving away from the copper. So when you were talking about two things coming together, they were actually inverse. The new product that's coming is predominantly silver with a copper inlay. So the copper inlay transverses all of the where the sides of the pyramid will match. So it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. And then in the pre-show, we talked about the numbers 3, 6, 9 and the manifestation power of that. And I showed you the bottom stamping on it. Now, this pyramid is going to have 8 sides to it, okay? You only see four, but if you look from the top down, like the Great Pyramid of Khufu, right, there's the sides are actually inlaid at 3 degrees, right? So it's an 8-sided pyramid that's coming, and you nailed it, Cole. So this was not scripted, folks. This was Courtney Evans doing in showing the power of how intuitive she is and what she does. And as she was talking to her guides, I started getting goosebumps all over the place. And that's a clear indication to me that we're definitely on the right path. That was cool.
I'm
Very,
excited for you. And that's just a little taste of what they can do and how it can help somebody. But really, for all intents and purposes, you've got a magic carpet that you're on and you need to hold on because it's fixing to take off.
yeah, 100%. So Courtney, how can people get in touch with you? We're going to have a
Wonderful.
link in the bottom of the video to your website.
Yeah. And what I'm offering is um, the highest level, what I call my highest level mastermind mentoring. And what this is where you get me doing all the heavy lifting for you. We'll talk. We're going to have a 30-minute free strategy session where you and I talk about where you are now and where you want to be and what your angels say, your angels, guides, ascended masters, all of them, right? What they're saying you need and what has to happen to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And it's that simple.
It's that simple, and in the simplicity is the power squared. She's amazing, folks.
Yeah. Peter, I love being on your show. I love the transparency with it, the real, authentic, genuine, down to earth, relatable sense to it. Um, you and I work in very different ways, both intuitive, but when you are able to see the results of your guides and the information coming through to you and what it manifests in your life, and being able to apply that to anybody in your audience or anybody out there in the world, you understand that there is another level that without it, we're only going to be able to do and be on the level we can see and we can fathom. But when you get a glimpse into that higher vibration, that higher destiny line, that top of the mountain view, then you're reaching for the galaxy and landing in the stars. And it's amazing. And that's what the angels and guides want for y'all now.
Yeah, and I've always said that too. If you're not learning, you're not evolving, and if you're not evolving, you're just dead in the water. And I've always talked about, stepping outside your comfort zone, and people are like, "Oh, I've tried that," but if you imagine that your consciousness is in a box, and when you get stressed out, you grow the walls a little thicker and the ceiling a little higher. But if you open that door and step out, that's where the creative magic is. And, a lot of people never aspire to that. They never want to do that. They're just fine where they are. Myself as an energy practitioner and inventor and creator of, a lot of different types of products, I always push the envelope. I am consistently testing and pushing the boundaries with the universe. Am I going to get in trouble if I do this? Well, there's only one way to find out. And I've gotten smacked back a few times, and it's you learn pretty quick though.
And it's stepping out of that fear. I was working with this doctor in New Jersey, and she didn't know if she should shut her business down. And she's a therapist. And after we started working together, within the first 30 days, her revenue went from about 3,000 a month to 12,500 a month, over 300% increase. And it's doing the energy work, showing up, stepping out of fear, and whatever they're telling me to do, here's your home play, to be able to go and do it. And then where I can come in and help somebody who maybe go like, I don't know about that, is help them step out of the fear. Let them know this is what they're saying about that. Because you being willing to push that envelope, Peter, is such a godsend. I mean, it's amazing. So many people today are like, yeah, I don't see it happening, and limit themselves. And so it's really, really nice to be able to tap into that high frequency and say, oh no, this is possible. This can happen, really.
Yeah, it's, retraining your brain, rewiring your neurological pathways to believe that things are very, very possible. So this is awesome. This has been a really good interview, Courtney, and I appreciate you stepping on for a few minutes this morning. So folks, if you want to get a hold of her, the information will be down in the link, and yeah, she's amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to talking to y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Mhm.